Welcome back, guys. So it's been a week or two since I've done a YouTube video, but like I said, I've just been pretty busy. It's been hard to do these kind of videos. So again, I'm going to do a what I've been watching kind of video. And it looks like on this post-it note I wrote all of them on, I've seen like 10 or 11 at least. A lot of them are rewatches more than I anticipated, but I'm still glad for because there were a lot of fun ones I rewatched. First up, speaking of rewatches, I rewatched Wrong Turn 4 Bloody Beginnings. And again, if you watched my last video, I was talking about how I've been watching the Wrong Turn movies with a friend who's seen some of them, but we wanted to watch all of them. And Wrong Turn 4 Bloody Beginnings is a prequel to the other Wrong Turn movies, and the only reason it's a prequel is because Three Fingers in it, and he got killed in 3. So they had to make it a prequel to bring back that character that everybody loves, because I think he is really funny and a fun, ridiculous, fun horror character. Three Finger. I almost want to say Littlefinger from Game of Thrones because they're so similar in name, but Wrong Turn 4 is set in an asylum where it shows at the beginning the cannibals go and literally like destroy everybody in this mental hospital, and it is insane and gory, and the gore effects continue to impress in this one. No matter what people say about each of the movies in general, like of the Wrong Turn franchise, like the effects are really really damn good. In this one, especially the beginning, was a really good kill where this guy gets wrapped up by barbed wire and like his arms and legs get ripped apart and ripped off. Like it really looks good, and I really like the effects for this one. It's typical Wrong Turn 4. There's not much in terms of character. It's just these dumb characters are trying to drive somewhere in the snow, and then they of course get stuck, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go into this abandoned hospital, and that's where the cannibals live. And of course, a lot of them get slaughtered. And you know what? Spoilers, I guess, for Wrong Turn 4. I don't think anybody survives it. I think it's literally like everyone's gone, which I was surprised. And it had a hilarious like, we made it, and then nope, heads cut off. It was hilarious, the ending. So I thought Wrong Turn 4 was fun. It, like I said, it's not a movie that you're gonna like critically like look at. Like, of course not. But I thought it was fun and entertaining. Um, Speaking of fun and entertaining, I also rewatched Nobody, which is the Bob Odenkirk movie from, was it last year? I think it came out last year, about the dad who goes on a high of trying to beat up people after he let these criminals into his house and didn't do anything about it. And it eventually leads to a, I believe, Russian mob, correct me if I'm wrong, but Russian mob leader where he has to fight all of these giant gang leaders. And it is awesome. Nobody I've seen before. I just rewatched it again on HBO Max, and I really, really love it. I think it's great. It's definitely a John Wick-esque action movie, but honestly, like, I've seen the first 2 John Wick movies. I haven't seen the third one. I do need to see the third one. But I like those John Wick movies a lot. But this one I think I might like slightly more, to be honest. I thought it was really, really fun and really ridiculously entertaining. Like, I just really dug it. Um, Bob Odenkirk does a great job in this performance of this, like, nerdy guy who, at the beginning, is a nerdy guy, and then he just becomes a sudden badass. And it is fun. It is ridiculous. It's got a great soundtrack. Heartbreaker plays while he's driving away from a group of gang leaders. Like, that scene's great. There's a great scene on a bus where like he kicks everybody's asses and like destroys everybody, and it's awesome. And like I said, it's just a really fun action movie, and I really enjoyed Nobody rewatching it. And also Christopher Lloyd is in it, and he's badass as well. Um, then another rewatch. I rewatched Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, because of Friday the 13th this year. I was initially not going to watch anything because I was so busy that day, but I was like, I've got to watch one. And it was worth it to not get much sleep that night and go to work early, but it was fine. I love Friday the 13th Part 5. That's easily my favorite out of all of them, and that's the one I'm going to go to first. Um, and also, when I rewatched Friday the 13th Part 5 this time, I listened to the audio commentary that was new for the Scream Factory collection. Um, right there, you can kind of see it on camera right there, but like it's got a great new commentary with if I can say all the names right, Melanie Kinnaman, um, I'm making her name. The person who plays Violet, the person who plays Tina, um, and Peter Bracke. And it's stupid that I just blanked on their names because I easily remember them, but of course I get on camera and go, I forgot the names. But I really thought the commentary was great and really insightful, and I thought it was awesome. They have another commentary for Part 5 that I've listened to a lot, with the director as well from like the 2000s. But this one I think is a little better. I like this commentary more. It's more lively. Even though the other one was good as well. But I love listening to audio commentaries, especially for horror movies. And of course, Friday the 13th I've seen so many times. I can't always just watch the regular movie. I got to put on an audio commentary for it. I do the same thing with Halloween as well. The franchise as well. But I love Friday 5. It's got some of the best kills in it. I really like Roy as the killer. I like that it's a whodunit in the middle of all these other Jason movies where Jason's just dead for one movie and then he comes back. But Tommy, I think as well, does a great job of being this character who has really suffered from PTSD from killing off Jason in the last movie, and now he's dealing with new killings going around, but like he doesn't know if it's Jason or not. And it ends on a way where it's like Tommy could be the killer in the next one, but no, that's just shoehorned out of the way for Part 6 because Part 5 was a failure because there's no Jason in it. People were so mad at the ending, which I really love the ending to this. I don't care. I think it's awesome. But this one is really, really entertaining. I really dig it. Love Friday 5. Like I said, I've talked about it a dozen times on here. Then there's a movie that I watched for the first time on Netflix called Wild Things, which I have never seen before, which has Denise Richards, Neve Campbell, Matt Dillon, and Kevin Bacon. And it is about these two girls who say that their teacher had raped them. And it goes to court, and it's about that, but then becomes a really wacky mystery movie afterwards. This movie is odd. It's very strange. It starts with a court thing where like the girls say, "Oh, the teacher raped us. He did all this stuff to get us into his house and rape us." But then afterwards, the movie becomes this mystery thriller of like what's going to happen now, and it's really, really weird. It's really goofy, but it's also serious, and it feels like a weird mishmash of genres. Even though I do like the performances of everybody, I thought that they all did really good. I love Neve Campbell and everything. I think she's great in this. Denise Richards, I thought, even though she's way older than a teenager in this, as I think Neve Campbell was as well too, but like Denise Richards, like you could tell she's not a teenager. In this movie, but she does great. And Matt Dillon does great as well as the guy trying to figure this out, and Kevin Bacon as well. They both do really good. It's a weird mystery thriller that like by the end of the movie, I was genuinely surprised what happened, but whenever I look back on it, I'm like, did the movie make sense? And I don't know if it did, honestly, but I thought it was fun and stylish and entertaining. So I think that gives enough to make me warrant the movie its liking. I did like Wild Things. So that was really fun. And then I rewatched Wrong Turn 5, which is the one that stars the guy from Hellraiser as the caretaker of the cannibals. And now these cannibals are at this little town where like they're having a costume party, and it's funny they use that in this movie because the face costumes in this one look pretty bad for the cannibals. Like Three Finger especially looks bad, but he even looks way worse in 6. But the makeup effects don't look really good in this one. The The gore effects though look great. Like I really did like the gore. Like in all these movies, all the Wrong Turn movies had great gore. But man, this one just had really, really bad like face effect, like makeup effects. Like the cannibals didn't look good, and they don't look good in part 6 either. So it's not like it's just this one movie. It continues on. Um, this one I can barely remember. I remember there was a cool cop lady who was a badass, and I thought she was fun. I remember the caretaker of the cannibals saying like, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die." Like it was kind of fun with him and his performance. There were some fun kills in there. I remember somebody is like underground and like his head is above ground, and then the three finger runs him over with a blade thing, so his head flies out. Like that was funny. Um, but really, besides that, I don't remember much else about Wrong Turn 5. It honestly is pretty forgettable in that way. Besides some good gore effects, it's got some bad things. Like I said, the makeup effects are bad in terms of the masks that these cannibals are wearing. Um, really can't think of anything else to say about Wrong Turn 5. Like it had fun moments, but it's pretty bad. Then I watched these two movies for this week's Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, and I've never seen either of these movies. The first movie is The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, starring Jodie Foster and Michael Sheen. And Jodie Foster is this 10-year-old girl who lives home alone, and everybody's wondering why is she living at home alone? What's this mystery? Like she has a dad, but he's never there. They never see him. She's very good at persuading people to say, "Oh, my dad's here. He's just in doing studying and all that." But he never is there, and the movie does a good job of being creepy. Like it's a creepy, bizarre little movie, and Jodie Foster does great. And I think on the show they said that this is before Taxi Driver. I think so. It's either before or right at the same time as Taxi Driver, which gained Jodie Foster recognition. Um, so that's interesting to see that she had a great role before that, because I really did like her in this movie, and I liked Michael Sheen as well. Michael Sheen is this pedophile, which is he really wants young Jodie Foster, and I like the fact that you of course don't see anything gross, and I'm thankful you don't, but Michael Sheen just really played a really despicable like character, and I really liked his performance in this. And again, Michael Sheen, really similar to Jodie Foster's situation, where I think a couple years later he did Apocalypse Now, which is one of the movies he's widely known for. So it's weird that this movie gets kind of thrown under the rug in terms of performances from both of them, because they're both actors that have gone on to such big things. But this movie I thought did a good job with really utilizing their performances, and it's a pre those movies, it's a really good performance from both of them, and I really liked them a lot in this movie. The movie's very slow burn, and that's fine. I do love slow burns. I thought it was effective. It really doesn't give you much of an answer to anything, honestly, without spoiling it, but I thought that it was effective enough that I really did like The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, which is a long-ass title. But I thought it was entertaining and creepy and bizarre, so I enjoyed it. Then the second episode on the show was Housebound, which is about a woman on house arrest after stealing, and she lives with her parents at the moment, and all of these supernatural occurrences start happening. And really, I don't remember this one that well, honestly. I watched it like a week ago, but I thought that in terms of the humor of it, I remember this one had a lot of funny jokes. I'm forgetting where this came from, like what country this came from. Um, I'm trying to say it's Australian, but I feel like it's probably not. But it really is funny with the humor and the performances, and I really liked all these people involved. And I'd never seen him in anything else, but this one surprised me in how just kooky and weird it was. And really, I can't say a lot about it because I kind of am forgetting about what Housebound was, but it was fun from what I remember. And then I bought the 4K of Two Evil Eyes, which is the Dario Argento movie, which is two different stories. I think two Edgar Allan Poe stories. One is about Adrienne Barbeau, and she and her lover are trying to get rid of the dad of this huge amount of money they're gonna get, and whenever they do, the dad haunts them, and it's pretty good. And Adrienne Barbeau, I really dug in this movie. I thought that she was great. Um, she genuinely, like, I do like her in all the other stuff I've seen her in, but man, I really loved her in this, and it really shows how great of an actor she is. And she didn't get much recognition for it. I really dug her in this. Um, but that's the first story, and there's two anthology stories. The second anthology story is about a black cat that this guy is trying to evade. Like, this black cat is trying to kill him, and like the cat has an owner who is creepy and bizarre to him, and they fall in love together. The cat owner of the cat, and Harvey Keitel, the main character, and they both get together while the cat starts doing weird shit. And this is really creepy, and the cat is creepy, and I'm not really a fan of cat abuse, and I don't think that there really was in this movie. I don't think. But it was from the 80s, so maybe. But like, man, it was hard to watch some of this stuff because it was hard to see what they do with this cat. And I think that it was like, it wasn't like what it seems, but the movie really pulled off the fact that this just kind of hurt me just watching this with like cats like suffering. Even though the cat was evil in this, but still, it's just the thought of that. But Two Evil Eyes I thought was really good. Like, I thought both the stories were great and really fun and interesting. Like I said, Adrienne Barbeau and Harvey Keitel, like, really I really dug both of them. They were really fantastic. And then I rewatched The Good Son, which I bought on Kino Lorber. That's a Blu-ray company for classic movies. And I wanted to see The Good Son again. I've seen this a dozen times. It's from 1993. It stars Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood, and it's about a kid named Mark, who Elijah Wood plays, whose mom just died, and he has to go stay with his cousins while his dad resolves business with the mom's death. And Mark meets the family of Henry, who's played by Macaulay Culkin, and Henry is this insane psycho kid who killed his little brother out of jealousy and does all these horrible things. Like, he kills a dog in the movie, like he shoots him. He throws a dummy off of a bridge to cause a highway pile up, but no one dies, thankfully. But like, he does all this bad stuff, Henry does, but none of the family realizes this, and Mark's on his own and is terrified because he has to fight against this evil kid who has his whole family wrapped around his finger and is evil. And I really love The Good Son, and I'm not going to say it's a great movie, because it's not. It really has a lot of issues with the writing in it. For example, I heard that this movie went through so many rewrites and so many different iterations because there was originally going to be another set of actors in this movie within Macaulay Culkin's dad, Kit Culkin, who was like, was known for being a bad dad in terms of making his kids work into filmmaking or work into acting and do all this stuff. And it's got so many different things with it that this movie has changed so many times. And it's weird how much of a Culkin vehicle it is, because it has Macaulay Culkin, it has his little sister Quinn Culkin, and I think I'm getting that name right, who didn't want to be in the movie, and she was like 6 or 7, I think, in the movie. She did not want to be in this movie. She didn't want to act, and she didn't act after this. And then there was also the picture of Rory Culkin as the baby Richard that Henry, the character, killed in the movie. But you see a picture of the brother, Rory Culkin, in real life, who was in Scream 4, funny enough. But it's got all these Culkin family members in it, and it was a real push for, I guess, for them wanting to do a mature movie with Macaulay Culkin in it, which is weird because Macaulay Culkin in this is creepy, but I think it's just kind of because he has some deadpan stares, and the way he says stuff is so robotic that it makes it creepy the way Macaulay Culkin talks in this. So it's effective with that, but I think the movie has problems with the writing where, like, these characters will say stuff, but there's never fully, like, there's nothing that fully like is resolved in a way. Like for example, Henry's little sister, Connie Quinn Culkin, there's one point in the movie where she screams, I don't want to go with you. I've got my own secrets. I'm not going to tell you a single one of my secrets. And like it's so out of nowhere, and it's like were they going to like give an example of like, well, maybe she knows Henry's evil or something, but like they didn't, and stuff like that. Or whenever Mark, Elijah Wood, thinks that Henry's mom is his mom, so both of the kids vie for the mom's attention, which urges Henry to try to kill the mom at the end of the movie. But it's like, why? Like, I get what they're doing with Mark trying to, with his mom who passed away from cancer. Like, she's not here, but he thinks she's reincarnated in Henry's mom. So I get it, but it's just not very like said greatly, if that makes sense. But really, it's just a movie about an evil kid who just does evil because he's evil. Like, there's no real explanation, and I did like that because horror movies do the thing where they explain why the person's evil. And I can enjoy that too. Like for example, like Scream, the Scream movies or something. But like this, I did enjoy how creepy he was in the movie, Macaulay Culkin. I did enjoy the movie despite having some weird, like, it's not very greatly done with the characters because some of them are not even really there much. Like really not. There's not much to explore with all these characters. But the ending, of course, is badass. I love the ending where they both are on the cliff. They almost fall off, and the mom has to hold them both. Like, which one is she gonna keep? Like, she can't pull both these kids up off the cliff. Like, I love that. That ending is awesome. No matter what I say about the rest of the movie, I love the ending of The Good Son. It's great. And it's also directed by Joseph Rubin, who before this previously directed Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts, which I really liked as well. That's a great thriller. And he also directed The Stepfather, which I think is terrifying. That is a terrifying movie. But like he does okay with what he can in this. And I watched the interviews on the Blu-ray for it, and Joseph Rubin was saying like, well, this movie has its goods and bads. He's, even as a director, he said that, and he thought that the movie looked good. It had a good score, is the things that he pulls from this movie. So, and I agree on that. The score is great. Bernard Herrmann, can't speak. Bernard Herrmann does a good job of the score. The Good Son I've always loved, despite having some little issues with it. But yeah. And then I rewatched Wrong Turn 6, which is really bad. You know how I said Wrong Turn 5 was bad as well, but Wrong Turn 6 is even worse in terms of like just being a bad movie. But I dig it though. Like, I think it's fun. Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort. Now, Wrong Turn 6 is about a guy, and I already blanked on the main guy's name because he's so boring like all these other characters, but the main guy goes with his friends to this resort like mansion, and these two people are there, this brother sister couple who have sex with each other, and you realize that he's connected to them, and they're all part of a conspiracy of like, they're related to the mountain men, the cannibals, and the cannibals are killing all these people off, and he's going to be the next person in line. And the girl named Sally, one of the girl in the relationship of the two brother sister lovers. This Sally character is the most interesting thing about this movie because Sally is ridiculous. This performance is so bad and so over the top, and I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, and I feel bad for saying her performance is so terrible in this, but it is hilarious. She is like a horny monster. Like, she literally can't have sex with anybody. And then until like they get him there for some reason, and then like she keeps trying to have sex with everybody, but then she kills him, and then she doesn't have sex, so she's even more hornier and more angrier, and it's so weird. There is a scene, I shit you not, where she kills a guy, puts a pillow on his head, and then masturbates on the pillow for like a good couple minutes, and it is hilarious because it is so bad, such a bad performance, but it is so over the top and so hilarious. Like, that is the biggest thing I will take from Wrong Turn 6 is the incest relationship, which I'm like, why do we have this? But I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because the Wrong Turn cannibals are all incested creatures that had sex with each other and keep creating babies, and they are deformed and gross. But why do these people look normal? Like, that's weird. The brother sister couple, like, they look like normal people. Um, but yeah, Wrong Turn 6 is ridiculously bad, but it is hilarious. Like, I had some hilarious fun times with it. It's not as entertaining overall as like some of the other ones, but I think it has some great moments of hilarity in it. Um, but yeah, Wrong Turn 6, and I'm gonna rewatch the new Wrong Turn remake, or try to soon, because I really want to watch that again, because I really dug it from what I remember. And I know it's way better than this one, than the last couple, by the way. Um, and then I rewatched Hannibal from 2001, the Ridley Scott Hannibal movie, not the show. Um, the the Hannibal franchise is very interesting because I've seen all of the movies. I have not finished the Hannibal show. I've seen season 1, which was fantastic, and I'm gonna watch the other 2 seasons. I just am really trying to try, like, there's so many things I want to watch, like it's hard to watch that right now, but I'm going to. That will be a goal. Um, but the Hannibal movies are interesting. Like I remember Manhunter being good, but I don't remember much about it. I saw it a long time ago. And The Silence of the Lambs is, of course, a great movie. And Hannibal Rising and Red Dragon. I don't remember anything about Hannibal Rising. Red Dragon, I remember liking, for sure, but I don't remember much about it. Well, no, I remember more about that than Manhunter, I guess. But I hear that Red Rising is the lesser of the two, because they're both based on the same story, the Tooth Fairy Killer or whatever. Um, but I remember Red Dragon more than Manhunter, but I've seen it more recently than Manhunter, because I saw Manhunter a long, long time ago. Um, but this franchise is interesting because it's got a great movie, Silence of the Lambs, and it's got other ones that are fine and good. And then Hannibal Rising, I don't remember being good at all, really. But Hannibal from 2001 is such a weird monster because it is a movie that is a sequel to The Silence of the Lambs. The expectations there already are going to be insanely high, because Silence of the Lambs, Jonathan Demme did an incredible job. Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins in that movie. And then I looked at, after I rewatched Hannibal again, I looked up why Jodie Foster wasn't in this, because I was like, why is Julianne Moore in this? And I knew she was going to be in it, but I always wondered, why was Julianne Moore in this movie and not Jodie Foster? Like, Anthony Hopkins came back. And then I've read that Jodie Foster was doing another movie at the time, and she and Jonathan Demme both, according to Wikipedia, were both kind of appalled by what happens in Hannibal the book. And I don't know if they would have thought the same thing if they saw this finished product, because this movie doesn't have the ending that Hannibal the book has, where Clarice falls in love with Hannibal Lecter. It doesn't happen in this movie, but in the book it does, apparently. So they were kind of appalled by that, and I think that's one of the reasons why Jodie Foster didn't come back, which is really unfortunate, because I really loved her in The Silence of the Lambs. And Julianne Moore is very interesting because already you've got an actress that is going to get shit for being a replacement for another actress. Like, it's really unfortunate. And watching this performance from Julianne Moore, I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't think she was as great as Jodie Foster was, but I don't think she's trying to be. I think she's trying to be a different performance. She's not trying to be the exact same thing, because if you do the exact same thing, it looks kind of like you're just ripping it off, and it might make it worse. I thought Julianne Moore's performance was good in this. It just it's weird with this movie because it's so different than Silence of the Lambs. It's got a lot of over the top moments of it, and with a different director, it would have gone differently. Like, watching this movie compared to, like, The Silence of the Lambs, watching the difference. Like, for example, in Silence of the Lambs, whenever you've got Hannibal, like, locked up and then he escapes and starts eating people, like eating the guy's face, like, that is terrifying. But in this one, it it has moments that should be like that, but they're unintentionally funny. Like whenever Hannibal rips the guts out of this guy and throws him off of this building in Sicily. I think it's Sicily. Throws him off this building and his guts splatter on the ground. Like, it is unintentionally funny, but I do like that about the movie. I do like that Hannibal is a different breed of a movie than Silence of the Lambs. It's not trying to be the same movie, and I feel like watching this movie, they took a lot of risks. They really did try to make this movie different, and I do appreciate that for to them. Like, I honestly do think that's a good thing about this movie, that it's not the same as Silence of the Lambs. um but it's just a sequel that really suffers from, it didn't feel like it was that developed with the characters, which is weird enough because you see a lot of these characters. I whenever I rewatch this movie, I'm like, wow, you don't have Clarice in this movie for like maybe it felt like an hour's worth of time. Maybe I'm thinking too much, but it could have been 30, 40 minutes that Julianne Moore is just out of this movie, and it was so weird because the movie's about her and about Hannibal, but it's also about Mason Verger, who is one of the best things about this movie. Gary Oldman, I mean, I'm thinking about how Gary Oldman looks in this movie, and it makes me want to throw up. Like, that makeup is some of the absolute best I have ever seen in any movie with Gary Oldman. Like, it is disgusting, and I literally want to throw up looking at this guy because he has like no lips, he has no teeth. Like, well, sometimes he has teeth, but he usually doesn't have teeth. He's got no lips. He's got a big eye. He's got an eye bled out, like ripped out. Like, it is horrifying. It is one of the scariest looking creations I've ever seen. Gary Oldman as Mason Verger in this movie. Horrifying, but there are a lot of positives like that in the movie, and Anthony Hopkins is great. But he plays it more like the movie is supposed to be in this version, over the top. Like, this movie feels more over the top with the way he says stuff. But I think that movie gives that. I think that gives the movie an identity of itself, and I feel like you can't look at this as the same as the Silence of the Lambs. It's not. It's not, and especially it doesn't help that we don't have the main lead not be the main lead, the same actors. But it's definitely a mixed bag. But I really liked a lot of things about it. It's visually very cool looking, even though it looks very like very post 9/11 kind of like darkness movie. Like, it looks like that, but it still looks good. And I don't even know if this was made right before. Like, it came out in 2001. I don't know if 9/11 happened right before this, but it looks like it's one of those movies from the 2000s that's post 9/11 where it looks dark and gritty, and or dark and sad, and it has that kind of look to it. But I still dug it despite all of these issues. I think Hannibal is a fun time. It's just not the same movie as The Silence of the Lambs. It's definitely not. And I think I still applaud them for it because they really tried to make something different. Whether it worked or not is up for debate, but I really liked Hannibal still, regardless of it being a mixed bag in terms of a movie for me. I still enjoy Hannibal. And then the last movie I watched is a new release, which is Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. And this is very weird because I watched Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers sometimes as a kid, like from the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. It only went for 3 seasons, but I remember having fun with it as a kid. This is weird because it is a very meta movie where, like, it's something like, say, Ralph Breaks the Internet, like, where it's another Disney movie where it's got all these cameos, but it's funny how this one has cameos from stuff that isn't even Disney. Like, there's stuff from South Park. There's a cameo from Ugly Sonic. Or not a cameo, he's in the movie actually, a couple of scenes. Tim Robinson voices Ugly Sonic. It's the Sonic that all the internet people cried over whenever we got the first trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, the live-action animated movie. You literally get Ugly Sonic as a character in this, and that, in my opinion, is really cool and really fun and really awesome. Tim Robinson is hilarious, so it's funny to hear him voice Ugly Sonic. You've got Andy Samberg and John Mulaney as Chip and Dale, which are good choices, and I think that their chemistry is really solid and actually works. You could feel like they've been through a lot because this movie is about current time, where, like, they did the show in the 90s and now they are kind of living back, remembering the old days, and then they go on a mystery that's like related to like the old show. Um, so I really dug that. I liked too. Speaking of cameos, I liked too how you got Randy from South Park in this randomly. Like, whoa, Randy's here, cool. Like he's just taking a sauna. He's in a sauna with some pigs, and then you've got all these other characters. Like, you've got a character that's like from the like not from the Polar Express, but he is a character that is a dead-eyed CG character, and they're like, oh, he's got those Polar Express eyes, which I thought was a good joke, voiced by Seth Rogen. And there's even a payoff where other Seth Rogen characters appear in this movie. I won't say which, but it's from other things, and I'm just like, whoa, that's weird. This movie has like 1 billion cameos, and it feels like kind of a sequel in a way to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where like you even see Roger Rabbit in this movie, but like it's so similar to the live action / animation that you would have expected it to be related to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because like I said, he's even in the movie briefly. It's a good mystery, and I think it does a good job with the characters, and I think it's funny, but I don't think it's like great, but I thought it was solid. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was unique in terms of what I've seen recently for Disney stuff, because I like how this movie lampoons all the Disney stuff. But it feels like it's got a heart to it. It feels like it's got a soul to it. Because like sometimes these Disney movies where they like just are references or for references, like it didn't feel that way. Like Ralph Breaks the Internet was kind of one of those examples where I did like some moments of meta humor in there, like with the Disney princesses. I thought that was funny seeing them all together and how they would interact with each other. But that Wreck-It Ralph 2 had issues where like it's like, oh, we're going to go into this Disney place and look at all these Disney characters, and then there's not like a reason. They're just kind of like, oh, look, there's stormtroopers. Oh, look, there's Grumpy. Oh, look, there's Buzz Lightyear. Like, it didn't really feel as strong of a movie as this one, but so I did like this one more than that. And I thought this movie just did a good job with its heart, even though some of the characters were okay. Like, they're not like super special. Like, I thought the two main leads, the two like Chip and Dale, I thought were the obvious like good thing about the movie. The other characters were fine. It's cool seeing J.K. Simmons again as another detective character, like after Justice League, and after he looks similar to how he was in Spider-Man No Way Home as well with the suit, but he's like a Gumby ripoff. Like, he's literally a Gumby character, like a piece of gum that like has the eyes and it looks like Gumby. And they even joke about that in the movie. Oh, it's a Gumby ripoff. So that I thought was pretty funny. But the other characters I thought besides Chip and Dale were whatever. Like, they were fine. But those two really are the heart of the movie. It's not really about the other characters from that Chip and Dale movie, but they do appear, or that Chip and Dale show. They do appear, though, in the movie, but I think it's more about just these two and their relationship, which I thought was fun and solid, and it does have some funny jokes. I do like when Disney pokes fun at itself, and this one did better at it than Wreck-It Ralph 2, even though, like I said, there were a couple things in Wreck-It Ralph 2 I did like, but despite that, I still had fun with Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It was pretty solid. So that's it for this video, for all the stuff I watched recently. Today I'm going to go watch Min, which will be in the next video of what I watched, which I'm excited for. A24, can't wait. I do need to see the new Firestarter, even though I heard it's bad. I'm going to watch it anyways because I'm a completionist, but I need to watch that. I'm trying to think of what comes out soon. I think the Top Gun comes out, I think, this week. Then Jurassic World, I think, comes out the week afterward. So we got a lot of new movies, but there's definitely old stuff I'm going to watch too. I still need to watch Killer Party. It's a movie that I just bought on Scream Factory. I even found Teen Wolf 1 and 2 on DVD somewhere, so I need to watch Teen Wolf 2 because I've never seen it before, but I've got stuff I'm going to watch, so we'll see if those are on the next video, but yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.